What's good, Savages? Welcome to Season 2 of Blue Collar Sports. I'm Savage Paulson, and with me, as always, is the Kenny Banya of Sports Talk, because when he speaks, it's gold, Jerry, it's gold. That's a Seinfeld reference if you don't get it. If you do, well, you know what? I think it's quite fitting. It's gold, Jerry, it's gold. We got lots to talk about, but before we get to your Dallas Cowboys and what they did just a few days ago, because I'm sure you have a lot to say. How was your summer?
It was good. Summer was good. You know, it took some time. I took some vacation over the summer, which was nice.
Nice.
I went down to the Maritimes for a little bit. That was real good. I
So
saw
did
you were
I.
also in the Maritimes. Yeah,
I did go to the Maritimes.
Where specifically?
Well, so I drove into Moncton, basically,
Okay.
from New York, because me and my son were in Long Island for a baseball tournament. And, my wife flew into Moncton, and I met her there. And we spent a few days in Moncton, visited with some friends, and then we drove north to visit my family, where I'm from, in Tracadie. And we stayed there for 3 days, saw my mom and some friends, some family, and then came back home. So, yeah, it's quite fun.
Very nice. Yeah, it was pretty similar for me in terms of I've got some family out there, and so went down to St. Andrews, New Brunswick, St. Andrews by the Sea.
Yeah.
And then moved up into the Cape Breton area. My brother used to live in the Cape Breton area for a few years, and so
Really?
yeah, so we were there, and he was there, kind of seeing some old colleagues as well. So it was a good time. It was a good week off, and it's been a little bit weird, only because when you have the sports going on and everything that's happening all at once. Now having the summer where all of a sudden there's this pause and everything, like
right?
other than your baseball, of course, and if you're a CFL guy, you got the CFL going on.
Right.
But otherwise, it's like, you don't have your usual NFL or hockey or, and coinciding with baseball and basketball all at once. So now we're slowly getting back. I've got the college football on in the corner as we're talking as well. So I'm getting myself ready to get back into the swing of things.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird summer, considering that, like, not weird, but it's, we went from spending time talking about 4 sports and then quickly having really nothing to speak about all summer. Yep. And no action. Now we're getting back into it. The NFL season is starting off. We have the end of the MLB season and the playoffs quickly approaching, so we'll probably in the following weeks have a lot to talk about with MLB and the football and everything. So let's get right into it. The first topic of the day, Micah Parsons getting traded to the Green Bay Packers on Thursday. Listen, you're a Dallas Cowboys fan. I looked at it quickly from the timeline. Let's say July 2025, voices his frustration at training camp. And then on August 1st, he officially requests a trade from the team. And then on August 28th, he is traded to the Green Bay Packers. Your thoughts on all of this and your reaction on all this, because I'm sure you're just dying to get it out.
Yeah. Did you have something to do with this, with Micah getting traded? Did you have Jerry on the phone? It's like, look, Blue Collar Sports is coming back. I need topics for the show, and I need to get Zach fired up for the first episode. So
you want to laugh? Have you watched America's Team on Netflix?
No, I've got it on the back burner, but I do plan on watching it. Now I'll probably watch it with gritted teeth every time Jerry's on the screen. But
so I've been watching it for, I think I have 1 episode left. I have watched, I don't know how many episodes there is. I've watched 7. So I watched everything almost all to the end, and it, if you don't know what it's about these Cowboys and the dynasty and how Jerry Jones bought the team and built it into this big thing. I learned a lot from this documentary. There's a lot. It also reminded me of a time where I started actually following football right around the time they were finishing their dynasty, and that's around the same time I started paying attention and following the Steelers and going forward. But I do remember some of the storylines from the documentary, so it's real interesting, because then I started seeing what Jerry Jones was really like, obviously how they portray him in this documentary. And now last week it comes to kind of a crescendo, and he goes, Micah Parsons, you're traded to the Green Bay Packers. So again, how did you react? Did you feel surprised? Everything.
I was stunned. I couldn't believe it when I read the news. I thought, like, Now looking back with the benefit of hindsight and seeing the wording of the request for a trade from Micah Parsons and how clearly upset he was with the franchise for how everything was being handled, negotiating with Jerry head on and Jerry thinking it was a true negotiation, but the agent wasn't involved in the room.
Right.
It's just, but I was thinking, it's the Cowboys, right? Every year, you had it with Dak, you had it with CD. The season's just about to start. It'll be either the day of or a few days before they'll get a new deal done. They're going to overpay. They could have saved money by doing this deal earlier, but they'll get their guy locked in. That's what I was thinking with Micah Parsons. I did not think that they would be trading a generational player. I will say that. One of the best edge rushers to come into the NFL in recent years. I've told people, one of my favorite Dallas Cowboys to watch was DeMarcus Ware. When I played high school football, DeMarcus Ware's number, I wore his number 94 because I love DeMarcus Ware. He was probably the best defensive player I've seen from watching the Cowboys, and I thought Micah Parsons was going to be well on his way to surpassing DeMarcus Ware as an edge rusher, just with his production. And I was getting excited. We're going to get Micah Parsons for 10, 15 seasons, and he's going to be one of those pillars of the franchise, one of those pillars on defense. We have found our version of Reggie White and Lawrence Taylor, I was thinking. All the Lawrence Taylor comps. So imagine my shock when I'm working in the newsroom, and 5:15-ish, I want to say, is when the news broke. And I see on my little news bug a little alert from the Associated Press saying Micah Parsons has been traded to the Green Bay Packers. Out of all the teams to trade Micah Parsons, all of the teams in the NFL, there are 32 teams in the NFL. He gets traded to the team that has crushed the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs, ended their hopes and dreams in the last 15 years, whether it be in 2016 when it was Dak and Zeke's rookie year, and there was hope. I know it seems shocking now, but there was hope in the Cowboys franchise. Like, we got these two young guys that could, lead the offense and do some things. And of course, Aaron Rodgers had to be Aaron Rodgers and just kill our hopes and dreams. There was also 2014. I should mention 2014 as well, when the Dallas Cowboys took on those Packers, and that was the Dez caught it game, where Dez Bryant caught the ball, despite it being marked as incomplete, even though he did catch that ball, and I will stand by that he caught that ball that day. And that was one of the better Cowboys teams. That was also Green Bay. Should also mention, too, recently, when Dallas had one of their best defenses they've ever had in their franchise, I would say. You had Dan Quinn as the defensive coordinator, but of course Micah Parsons in there as well. Trayvon Diggs was, lighting up, getting a bunch of interceptions. That whole defense was looking strong. And who was the team that crushed their hopes and dreams in the playoffs in the wild card round? It was the Green Bay Packers, putting up 48 points in that wild card game. So out of all the teams in the NFL that Micah Parsons could be traded to, it's not the Cardinals, it's not the Carolina Panthers, it's none of those teams. It's the team that has ripped our hearts out of our chest for the last 15 years. Imagine how I felt having to read that. All the Packers fans that have mocked and ridiculed me as a Cowboys fan over the last 15 seasons. Now they got their, why not? I mean, that Packers franchise, they got their Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. Why not give them their another franchise QB and Jordan Love? You know who else they had? They had this premium edge rusher and Reggie White. Let's just give them their Reggie White too while we're at it. Let's just give them their pillars of the franchise. So I've been very up and down on the Cowboys, to say the least, in the offseason. I wasn't a fan of the Schottenheimer hire, not because of anything, only because of Jerry and the implications of it and how it looked. I like the coordinators they hired afterwards, even Eberflus to an extent, because I think he's a better coordinator than a coach. Just don't give him timeouts to work with, clearly, but I think he'll be a better coordinator. And the guy that they got, the offensive coordinator, I think his name is Clay Adams. He comes from Arizona. He's part of the Shanahan tree when it comes to the offense. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that will translate. Plus, with the acquisition of George Pickens over the offseason, we talked about that here on this show with Pickens getting traded. And so I was getting excited, and then it's always Jerry Jones, Stefan. He always seeps through. He always finds a way to rear his head in and get himself into the news cycle. And now we don't have our generational edge rusher in Micah Parsons. He's going to win Defensive Player of the Year now, right? Like, that's what's going to happen. He's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. They're going to go to the playoffs. And that Packers team, like, I don't know what else I could really say other than I think they're a favorite in the NFC now with Micah in there. And I think they were already a pretty good team, like a sleeper team to look at heading into the season with the acquisition of Matthew Golden in the NFL draft. But yeah, so that's I've been seething on this for the last couple of days. I've been waiting for this outlet to talk about Micah Parsons, because it's been all I've gotten is just people messaging me asking me if I'm okay, if how I'm doing with the Micah Parsons trade. And while I appreciate that, it has just been nonstop messages asking me about the Micah Parsons trade. So Dallas just can't get anything good with Luka Doncic being traded out of the area, and now Micah Parsons. So yeah. That is my initial thoughts of Micah Parsons being traded away.
I mean, listen, it hurts.
Yeah,
right? It hurts the Dallas Cowboys. Like, you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, so obviously it really hurts. Not to mention that it makes Green Bay really, really good. That's the thing I got out of it. Okay, Dallas, look, they still got George Pickens in the offseason. I don't know if that's going to equate to their offense just exploding with Dak and CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. I don't know. I don't know how George Pickens is going to be this season in Dallas. Hopefully they're great, but now you have a huge hole on defense, and then you're looking at like who's going to pick it up now and how this team is going to look. What I can tell you is Green Bay is going to look great. So now they got this guy on defense now. And you look at the NFC North with all the teams that are in the NFC North, Vikings, Lions, Packers, Bears, like there's potential of like 3 teams like being really good in that division with the Vikings, with the Lions, and now with the Packers. Like, you might be looking at these 3 teams like finding a way into the playoffs somehow and being really, really strong. I mean, I think the Lions are still a favorite in the NFC North, but I mean, again, this could rejuvenate or could motivate or inspire the Packers to just ball all season. Then they might end up on top of the NFC North. I don't know. But one thing I will say in my impressions, again, of just reading or hearing about it in the news and at the same time watching this documentary, America's Team, and really seeing Jerry Jones and the way that he always has to be involved in the team. Like, he wants to be part of the team so bad. He forces himself in these situations. And I think, look, he's done a great job at building this empire of the Dallas Cowboys, right? They're probably the most profitable. I think they're still on top of all the NFL teams, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Most valuable franchise, yeah.
One of the tops in just all sports, and since the 90s, really. So it's really, really impressive that sometimes you really have to question, like, is it to the detriment of the football team? This empire first, then, but if we could just put a football team together and win championships, that would be a plus. I don't know. It's just weird. It's like a circus every year, and we expect it now every year after year after year, ever since the Prescott circus. Now it's the Parsons circus. Like, I feel for you guys as a fan. Like, I know the Steelers have been a little bit of a circus these past few years with these barely over 500 records and
the wide receivers as well. They come through sometimes, and
so it's not fun. But when you see one of I think the best player on your team getting traded simply because unwillingness to pay the man, what do you think the real reason behind Jerry Jones trading him is? Does he want to save money to sign someone else? Or is it, I'm going to mortgage my future and try to get maybe someone in the draft with the 2? Because they did get a 2026 and a 2027 first round draft pick and another player, Clark, right? I don't think the player is important in this trade. It's really the first 2 first rounders here. What's your immediate thought on this? Is it just Jerry being Jerry, or do you think he actually has a plan that might have a potential of turning things around in the next year or 2 for the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, if the Cowboys have a plan, they haven't explained it very well what the plan is. And that was one of the things I wanted to come into this show with. It's like, I really don't know what the plan is for Dallas at this stage, because I know Jerry said a few years ago, we're going all in. We are going to make these moves and we're going to go all in on guys, and this is how we're going to do it. But this doesn't feel like an all-in move to me. what this feels like to me is kind of an ego move where Micah is starting to control the narrative now. And Jerry, as I can only imagine the Netflix documentary because I haven't watched it yet. I do plan on watching it. The thing is that Jerry likes to be the one that comes out strong in the end. Like when it comes to the negotiations with Dak, he was still the one that came out strong in the end because he negotiated. He was the one that was willing to pay the money and paid the $60 million for Dak, right? He's willing to pay the money for CeeDee Lamb. I think in this case, Micah was trying to control the narrative and they started to change it around. It's like, well, we don't need Micah Parsons. We can, and here's how we can shape it. Because I avoided the press conference that Jerry Jones had at all costs because if I did, I was going to throw something at my screen. And so I just read the quotes just coming out of the press conference. And the big thing he was talking about is like, well, this move immediately helps the team stop the run because Kenny Clark on the defensive line, he's a good player. Like, he's not a bad player. Like, the problem is he had a down season for his standards last year, and he's going to turn 30 this year. And yes, he provides some immediate help on the defensive line for the Cowboys that was really weak coming into this regular season. They were hoping that Mozzie Smith, the draft pick a few years ago from Michigan, would really kind of step it up this year, but he just hasn't been able to translate his game into the NFL. And so he's still on the roster, but he was legitimately considered somebody that might have been cut. And so when they bring in a guy like Clark, it is somebody immediate that will help on the defensive line. And then, as you mentioned, with the 2 first-round picks. But the thing that I am trying to figure out is how 2 first-round picks, one after the season and one after the season next year, is supposed to help the team now.
Right.
Like, how is that supposed to help the team now? Like, the only thing I could think of, and it was alluded to in the press conference, was that we could trade the picks. Like, we could, package these first-round picks and try and get an elite player. Now, I don't buy that because Jerry hasn't done that in 20 years, where he's, like, done this gigantic mega deal to trade for a guy. So I don't buy it. It was very, very frustrating. It was very, very frustrating to see all that.
And just let's say they do take these 2 draft picks and flip them and do get a star player. Let's say they do. Do they get a defensive star player to try to replace Parson, or they just go all in on their offense and go like, we're going to score 48 every game and hope the defense holds up?
Yeah, just a bend don't break sort of deal when it comes to the defense.
Like Bengals, fucking chuck it and let's score as many.
Hope for the best.
We got offense now. Like, maybe we can sign another wide receiver. Maybe who knows? Honestly, I don't know.
Invest in the offensive line too if they wanted to.
Right.
Because they would definitely need that. I mean, the thing with Jerry is that I wouldn't be shocked if he would decide to go all in on offense. Like, oh, let's get some flash and some pizzazz because we're the Dallas Cowboys. We're America's team. We got to show the flash and pizzazz.
But I don't think that's what wins championships, though. Nope. I don't give a shit. Like, if you can be all in on the offense, it might win you 12 games during the regular season. Yep. But if you don't got that lockdown defense when it comes to the playoffs, you're 1, 2 and out, and that's it. You're not making it to the Super Bowl. And if by chance you are, it's probably against a team that's got a really, really good defense. So, and there's a lot of those teams right now that are just getting stronger and stronger on defense from the inside, I might add, instead of just trading players up, good drafting. There's a lot of good teams out there. So, yeah, it's frustrating. I'm assuming it's really frustrating to be a fan and to just be part of all this.
Yeah, it really is. It just continues to be frustrating each year. And I really don't know what to expect this year. Like, this could be a disastrous season, or this could be like usual. Like, I feel like they're going to play 500 to above 500 ball this year. I'm not buying that they're going to have this down season or anything like that, but I'm still, that's the thing with the Cowboys. It's like now the division has gotten better with Washington. While I think Washington will take a step back this season, that can, be a tease for our preview of the NFL season coming up.
Right.
It's still a much stronger division than in recent years. And Philadelphia, obviously, is Philadelphia. That's always going to be a team to keep an eye on in the NFC East. But with Dallas, it's just, it feels like it's a sideshow each year. So it's just, I really don't know. I'm going to watch the games because I'm a sick man and I have to curb this illness by watching the games each week because I'm just too far in. I got asked recently by people that aren't the biggest sports, folks, is like, why don't you just change NFL teams? It's like, are you crazy? Why would you? No, I'm too far in. I'm too far in. I've watched all the games since I was like 6, 7. Like, I can't change now.
people that the occasional sports fan don't understand, like once you pick a team and you grow
We're
up
locked
with
in.
that team, you can't, no matter how much they suck, no matter how many bad trades they make, how shitty their owner or how, it doesn't matter. You just gotta ride or die with that team. You gotta lock in with that team. I'll say this, ChatGPT predicts that they'll have a 7-10 record.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them. They weren't that great last season. Now that was because Dak got hurt and they had a couple of injuries last season. And
look,
clearly,
if Dak Prescott can stay healthy and CeeDee Lamb can stay healthy and George Pickens can be productive, I think they can win more than 7 games. I haven't looked at their schedule, but I would flip that around and say they're more, in my view of having really looked at it all summer, I think they're more of a 10-7 than a 7-10 team. But hey, I don't know about their schedule. They might have a tough schedule ahead, and there might be a few games. Because you're right, the Commanders, I think, are still going to be on the incline this year. I mean, McLaurin signed. They got Deebo Samuels. Like, I can't see this team shitting the bed so bad that they're below 500 team. And I think the Eagles are going to be right there on top of the NFL. I mean, unless you have something else to add about Micah Parsons Trade, maybe we could just start getting into the previews and anything. Have you made your peace so far with it?
Oh, no, I probably won't, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try and be the bigger man and try and move on. But I will say this, it is an absolute bungling that the Cowboys did by not signing Micah when all the edge rushers were getting these big deals, when it was TJ Watts and just an absolute bungling. And then and it's just not any other guy. Like, this is a guy that wanted to play for Dallas. Like he grew up a Cowboys fan.
And he said it multiple times he didn't want to play
multiple times. Yeah, he wanted to be in Dallas. And
absolutely.
And they fucked it up. Like it's just I stunned. I still can't believe it's the only thing that could have made it worse, like, I would have put ranting and raving, it was the Eagles somehow pulling off a trade with the Cowboys.
Can you imagine?
If they traded within the division to the Eagles, like, I'd probably be like, Stefan, I don't know if I will be good enough to get on the podcast.
This is like trading like Michael Irving or Emmitt Smith to the 49ers back in the 90s, right?
Yeah, that would stink. Like, that would just be awful. So, I mean, I guess it could have gone worse like that, but it's still not great, like getting to the Packers. So we'll see what the season brings. I don't know. Like, I really don't know at this point with the Cowboys. Like, the running game is still, there's still a lot of question marks around that. I think the offense is going to be a bit better. I don't know about defense. Defensive line, I guess, is better now because Kenny Clark is there. I mean, got rid of a generational edge rusher, Micah Parsons, to get him, but you've got Clark now on the defensive line. And there are good players there. The defensive backs are a bit of a question mark outside of Trayvon Diggs. But yeah, I'm going to try and make my peace throughout the season. Although, depending on how it goes by like week 6, week 7, I might not have much of a beard or a patchy beard for pulling the hairs out of my face. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it might be a long, hard season for Cowboys fans. So let's...
I might go gray. Like, I might go gray as the season goes along. You never know. It's could be something.
I will say this about I was looking for his name right now. I did discover a player, Charles Haley.
Yes.
From the Dallas Cowboys. Like, got
He's
traded
a character.
for the holy shit. Immediately, I'm like, yeah, that's my kind of guy. Like, that guy don't give no fucks. He just, like, the story they have on this documentary, like, was really interesting. Like, everything he did. And if that happened nowadays, like, he wouldn't be playing football anymore.
Oh, God, no. No.
Dude, there's a part in the documentary where he walks into, I think it was, the coach after Spitzer? Barry?
Oh, Barry Switzer. Yes, Barry Switzer.
He comes in and he's immediately throws his helmet at the wall, like, right next to his head, and then starts, like, swearing him off. Like, I'm like, dude, if that happened today... that guy wouldn't be playing football anymore. So
there's some Charles Haley stories out there that if you search deep enough, that guy was to say he was a character would be an understatement. But there's a reason why he played for so many years. He won 5 Super Bowls, like, with Dallas and with San Francisco. It's like, and a fun fact, I remember my brothers and I pitched it together. He is on Cameo. He's on Cameo.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, we pitched it. We pitched in together to get a cameo for my dad for his birthday. Charles Haley, a happy birthday message for cameos.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'd really love to hear that. Oh, that'd be awesome. Let's get into the previews and predictions. We'll try to do this quick. There's a lot look, there's a lot. It's early. Season hasn't started yet. There's a lot that went on, new draft picks, trades, all of that. Look, it's funny that we're talking about the Cowboys because a few weeks ago, out of the blue, I predicted that one of my predictions for the Super Bowl was going to be the Steelers versus the Cowboys.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I think I'm still sticking to that. I think if we're talking like preseason predictions as far as Super Bowl, I really want to see look, I'm a Steelers fan. I really hope that this Aaron Rodgers saga ends on a really high note. He really meshes well in Pittsburgh, and they go on and have a really good season, and they get into the playoff and make it to the Super Bowl so we can see Aaron Rodgers one more time. That real nice Cinderella story ending for Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. Now, I'm a lot of wishful thinking. A lot of things have to go right for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number one, their defense has to be better against the top teams. Last year, their defense was strong, but when they faced the top 3, 4, 5 teams, that defense didn't hold up, and it really mattered down the stretch, and especially in the playoffs. I think with the TJ Watt deal, I think with the Jalen Ramsey deal, I think their defense is stellar still, but they still have to play up to their potential. So I'm hoping that the Steelers, everything just comes together. They start playing behind this middle-aged man and Aaron Rodgers, and they really want to push for him to win one more championship. And I really would love to see it against the Dallas Cowboys because of the George Pickens storyline, and because I'd love to see the Cowboys get there despite not having Micah Parsons. I think that would be the best possible outcome for the Dallas Cowboys, would be to beat the Packers and then go on right, to be in the Super Bowl. That would.
Don't tease me with a good time there, right, Stefan. I mean, man.
But I also predict that we might see a rematch from last year, and the Chiefs versus the Eagles. I have a hard time seeing the Eagles being worse than last year. I think that everything hit for them last year. They didn't have one of those seasons where we're like, holy shit. But just when they came down to the playoffs, they had some close calls. But, I mean, once they made it to that Super Bowl, they were super confident in their team, and it showed. They blew out Kansas City for the most part in that Super Bowl. And Kansas City, I think, is still going to be right there. Also, maybe the Bills versus, I don't know. I think the Bills might get there. There's a lot of potential previews. But again, if I look at the NFC, I think the Eagles are going to come out on top in the East. The South, maybe the Buccaneers. I think they might have a great season. I think Baker Mayfield is a really good quarterback. And the West, that's open. Seahawks, Rams, a lot of teams lined like we spoke about it earlier. Yep. What's your immediate thoughts on the season that we're about to have? If you have any predictions you want to share, any things you think is going to be a factor in this upcoming NFL season.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating this year because, for the last couple of years, I would say, you've had your teams, especially in the AFC, there's always been the three of the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Ravens are the teams that you kind of keep an eye on and say, okay, these are teams that can get themselves to the Super Bowl. And the NFC, other than the Eagles, it's been a lot more wide open, I found, in terms of who could really make a charge. 49ers, I guess you could say years ago, but I'm not as confident in the 49ers this season as I was in years past. I just don't know about the talent level there on the offensive side of the ball.
Right.
And George Kittle is getting up there in age, and obviously you mentioned Deebo. Now, the thing with Deebo Samuel is I'm not 100% confident we're going to see the Deebo Samuel of old as we kind of continue on.
Yeah,
so I can understand why San Francisco made the trade, and we'll see with CMC. The big thing with him is that he there's always a point in the season where it feels like I can only think of one season where he played a full season.
Yeah.
And so it's always tough with him. The defenses are always going to be good, but the thing with the 49ers that they always seem to be a walking infirmary, where it just seems like they're always battling injuries each and every season.
Right.
So I will say, in terms of sneaky picks, you mentioned the Buccaneers earlier.
Yeah.
I quite like this Bucs team going in. I like this. I like the division that they're in, especially the division that they're in, I think
It's
they
a
can
mess
easily
right
win.
now. Yeah,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
a mess. The Falcons are a mess. The Panthers are the Panthers, and the Saints are a mess. I don't even know who their starting quarterback is. Like, do you even know who the Saints start? Is it Rattler?
It's Rattler, yeah.
Yeah.
So Spencer Rattler's the quarterback, and they drafted Tyler Shuck,
Right.
second round, who is 25.
He's going to be in the backup. Is that who's the second string? Right. So.
Yeah, that's how it's going to work there. Just to give a sense of how long Tyler Shuck has been in football, like he was playing when Trevor Lawrence was playing at Clemson, and and Lawrence has played at Clemson, got drafted, has a few years, got a contract extension.
Yeah, and he's
and
just
now
got
Shuck's
drafted.
in the league.
Yeah.
Shuck just got drafted. So I mean, we'll see. The historically QBs that have been drafted at the age of 25, 26 don't necessarily do great coming out of the draft.
Absolutely.
So the first name that comes to my mind when I think of that is Brandon Whedon when he was drafted like 28 years old, and we saw how that worked out. So I look at this NFC South and I see where the Bucs are at, and I really like this team. I like Baker Mayfield, and they've gotten some sneaky playoff victories. You know, they've played well in those playoff games, and Baker's shown he can play at a level. Now, I think those teams that they lost to were just better teams overall, but
Yeah.
I look at the depth that they have, and the big questions will be, you know, Mike Evans is in his early 30s, still a great receiver, 1,000 yards each season. Can he continue that sort of streak? Godwin is always a receiver that's talked about, but this wide receiver that they drafted out of Ohio State, Micah Parsons, looks really good.
Really? Okay.
So
They got Bucky Irving as running back. I mean,
I think that's also a sneaky running back. Everything I see when it comes to the Buccaneers, I just think they've got a sneaky good team here that I think could easily win their division and be competitive in the playoffs. Now, I'm not saying they're going to go to the Super Bowl, but I think they would be like, you know, with last season, Washington surprised everybody and went to the NFC Championship. If I could see them being a team that could make a deep run and really surprise some folks, because I think that's a really solid team. There's not really like a standout, like, here I am today, and I'm going to tell you that at the Super Bowl, it's going to be this team and this team. Because I really think that, you know, there's a part of me that kind of wants to see the Baltimore Ravens finally get over that hump. And I think they were so close last season with the Bills, and then obviously the drop ball in the end zone.
Yeah.
You know, like they were so close, and I think Lamar Jackson kind of battled against those. You know, when it comes to some quarterbacks, like, oh, they can never win in the big game, right? That was starting to hover around Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, it was.
And I thought he played well against Buffalo. It's just now I'm hoping he could take that next step. So I would like to see the Ravens get to the Super Bowl. They're kind of like, if I wasn't deeply ingrained as a Cowboys fan, I'd probably be a Baltimore Ravens fan, if I'm being honest, because I just love the way that organization is run, and they're just consistently competitive each year, and they give a good product to fans, and they've always been good with fans as well. And so, you know, but no, I will just continue to be haunted and cursed as a Cowboys fan from here on out, I guess. But if I'm cheering for a team in the AFC, it'll probably be the Ravens. But, you know, I think the thing to ask this year is, like, can the Bills get it done? You know, like at this point now, it's like, I think they've been given a lot of chances, and can they overcome Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in the playoffs? And can they get to a Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl at this point? Like, I think they've gone up through a lot. Like Josh Allen winning MVP, you know, helps with that in terms of his, you know, story arc, I guess, for lack of a better term, and his growth. And so I look at it, and I look at some of the acquisitions they've made in Buffalo, and it's like still going to be a competitive team, still a team that will dominate their division. I guess now the real question is like, now I think it's in a show me state with Buffalo. It's like, all right, show me that you can win the big game. Show me you could beat Kansas City, and show me that you could get to a Super Bowl.
The thing is, though, as you said, I agree. I think it's time for the Bills. Like, they're just right there. I think it's their time. But the same thing could be said about the Ravens, right? It's like, you just said it, the same thing. Like, can Lamar Jackson get to that game and win a championship? Like, both in the AFC, I think the two teams that have most on the line are the Bills and the Baltimore and the Ravens. Now, is a regression from the Chiefs needed for either of these teams to get it over the hump and make it to the Super Bowl? Maybe, or maybe they just got better. Right? I don't know about the Chiefs. The Chiefs are, I mean, they have Mahomes and Andy Reid and Kelsey that just got engaged to Taylor Swift. That could blow
Did you
up
hear about that? Did you hear about that? Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift getting engaged? Did you hear about that?
Yeah,
I don't know if you heard about that,
Yeah.
Stefan.
Did you hear
I think
about
you need to
that?
know.
Yeah.
I feel like people need to know about that.
I think I saw it online somewhere, like
Yeah, it might have
like
popped up the
quickly,
feed.
but
Yeah.
you know, it's not like it was all over my timeline.
It's not like I was tuning into the Cincinnati college football game and there's Travis Kelce in the box with Taylor Swift at Arrowhead. It's like, great, of course. Can't watch a game involving Cincinnati without, Travis Kelce there. I know you played there in college, but still.
Still, I think that could blow up in their face. I think Travis Kelce could have a really bad season because I think he's not into football. I don't know. He didn't have that good of a season last year. I think it's a bit of a distraction, the whole story with the Taylor Swift, and I don't think this helps in getting engaged right before the season starts. I think the expectations are large on Kansas City considering what happened to them in the Super Bowl last year. But again, if I look at I could see Eagles, Bills, right? Eagles, Bills, Eagles, Ravens in the Super Bowl. But we spoke about the NFC South and how it's kind of wide open for the Buccaneers here to take a really big leap and win the division. Same thing could be said about the AFC South with Houston. Like if you look at the division on the AFC South, you have Houston, Indianapolis, like the Colts, the Jags, the Titans, and the Texans. Like the Colts, I mean, they got Daniel Jones as their QB1. So we could talk about that too. I think they basically gave up on Anthony Richardson way too quickly. I think he's still really young. Hopefully they'll keep developing him and maybe one day he'll get another shot. But if Daniel Jones is beating you up for your job right now in Indianapolis, it might be time to pack your bags and go somewhere else. The Jags are the Jags. I mean, they might win 4 games. They might win 8. They might win 10. Who knows? Trevor Lawrence is a really good quarterback, but everything else there seems to be a bit of a shamble and a mess. And the Titans, well, I don't expect much from the Titans. So I know Houston has been devoured by injuries in the last few years, especially when it comes to their wide receivers. I don't even know if Nico Collins is starting the season. I think he might still be on the injured reserve with his knee injury.
We'll check that for you here right now.
I don't know about that, but I think the AFC South, just like the NFC South, is wide open. I think the Texans have the best chance of coming out. I mean, they have C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud is a really good quarterback, and I am a huge believer in C.J. Stroud. So if he could stay healthy, is he still on IR?
I don't see anything about an injury about IR, so he might play. He might play in week 1. So he's an underrated receiver too, Nico Collins.
Yeah,
he's a solid wide receiver 1.
Tank Dell and Nico Collins, and I love these guys in Houston. So, but I think the similar storylines continue as far as the whole NFL. You're going to see the Ravens there. The storyline will be, can Lamar Jackson get there? You're going to see the Bills. Can the Bills get there and finally win can Josh Allen finally win a Super Bowl? And then you'll have the Chiefs, if they can continue being dominant. Then you'll have the Eagles. Can they repeat? Commanders, can they repeat what they did last year? But there's certain teams I'll be looking forward to. Obviously, I didn't speak about my Steelers that much, but the Detroit Lions. There's a lot of teams. Eventually, one of those teams has to fall off.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to pick one this year, I don't know why this team comes to mind. Maybe the Lions. Maybe the Lions kind of cool down, injury. I don't know. It's just a gut feeling if I look at all the teams on top. If not, they're just still going to go out and win 12, 13, maybe even 14 games and dominate. But there's a lot to look forward to. I'm excited for week 1 next week when, you have the Dallas Cowboys versus
the Philadelphia Eagles.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
week 1.
on Thursday. So that's going to be a good matchup. At least if we could see, hopefully the Cowboys show up and play after all this saga now that everything is done. So I'm excited. I'm excited to watch the Steelers and see what Aaron Rodgers could do with the Steelers and hopefully get to the Super Bowl. I would love to see it. Obviously, I'm a Steelers fan, but there's a lot of things. The Jets. I want to see if oh my God,
Justin Fields.
Yeah, Justin Fields. I'm because I think he's getting to a point in his career where it's time for you to either break out or you're just gonna get keep getting buried and traded, and you're going to fall into the second string. Not to mention the New York Giants. ChatGPT didn't really give them much of a chance to win 3 games this season, but I think they'll win more than 3 games. I think Jackson Dart looked really, really good in the preseason. And I think they have Russell Wilson and they have Winston that could win you a couple of games. I think he could.
I think with that Giants team, I don't think I'm going out of line by saying that Russell Wilson's probably the best quarterback they've had since Eli Manning currently. You think of all the quarterbacks that have played for, it's Daniel Jones mainly, right? So
I could say that. Of course.
So you look at all the quarterbacks, like I think Russell Wilson, for all that he's, gone through, I will say I'm stunned at the amount of people that are like, I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer. It's like, I know he's had some bad recent seasons, especially in Denver.
Right. No, he's a Hall of Famer.
To me, he's a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah.
But he's clearly on the down slope of his career, but I still think he could produce. He's not the let Russ cook.
Right.
He's going to air it out to Lockett and Metcalf from the late 2010s,
right.
Russell Wilson. But he's still a guy that I think could produce, and I think the quarterbacks there, even Jameis Winston to an extent, I think will be a better option. I also think too, I think that defense might, scare some people.
Yeah, they looked really good in preseason. That defense looked really good in preseason.
So I'm not saying they're winning the division, just for the record. I especially don't want to say that as a Cowboys fan. But if I want to put on my neutral hat and try and be the analyzing the division, I think it's just I'll just say it's fun to kind of crap on the Giants. It's just fun to do, and as somebody that went to MetLife Stadium. And saw them lose 40-0 to the Dallas Cowboys in the season opener for you. Oh, it's just tremendous. Seeing all the Giants fans leave in the rain was fantastic. But I will say, as an analyst and just kind of looking at it neutrally, I think they've got some pieces there that I don't think they're going to end up with 2 or 3 wins. I think that's a little tough on the Giants. I think they'll end up being a 5 or 6 win team, and I think they'll put on some competitive games. I think this is a better team than they're giving it credit for. It's just that one, it's the Giants, and you can never really trust them, and 2, they're in a division that's much better teams are ahead of them, and I would include the Cowboys in there. And so that's how I kind of view with the Giants. And you were mentioning teams taking a step back. In the case of the Lions, I think that's an interesting case because they've lost both of their coordinators to head coaching jobs, especially Ben Johnson. It's going to be fascinating to see when it comes to the offensive side of the ball, because Ben Johnson was known to be very creative when it comes to his play calls, and he got the most out of Jared Goff.
Absolutely.
And so I'm not familiar who the offensive coordinator is now for the Lions off the top of my head, but if they could get their new offensive coordinator in there, and John Morton is the new offensive coordinator, looks like, for the Detroit Lions. If John Morton can take elements from Ben Johnson and, be creative and do these unique play calls and utilize these guys, because there's still very much talent on there.
There's a lot of talent,
so much talent in there. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, and so there's still talent there, but the play calling is going to be different, and because it's going to be different, we see with Jared Goff, when he's got a really good play caller with Sean McVay and Ben Johnson, you could get the most out of him, especially confidence-wise. But if you got somebody that's not the greatest play caller in the world, or they're not creative with their plays, that Jared Goff is not a horrible quarterback, but he's not going to be a guy that's really going to take you to the promised land. So I think that's going to be fascinating, especially in that division with the Vikings are a team I'm keeping circled on, because to me, the question is going to be, how is JJ McCarthy going to look now that because they've clearly said we're committing to him. We're not signing Sam Darnold to a new deal. We're committing to JJ McCarthy. We invested a first-round pick in him the previous season. Obviously, he had the injury where he had to stay out for the season. They're committed to JJ McCarthy. I still think there's a lot of talent on that Vikings squad. It's just going to be a matter of, it's a little bit cliche, but it really is going to be a question of, can the quarterback go in there and deliver and be the guy that they hope for? And I think you can at least be assured it's going to be okay, because their head coach is a guy that's clearly, it sounds like he's a QB whisperer, where he's able to get the maximum out of guys. Obviously Sam Darnold's getting a big time money contract to play for Seattle. So it's that's going to be another fascinating one to me, because can JJ McCarthy really step up and be the guy in Minnesota?
Do you expect a leap forward for Caleb Williams, or No, or not?
I do. I've always been hot and cold on Caleb Williams, not because of the talent, because the talent is definitely there.
Right.
My thing with Caleb Williams, and it goes back to his time at USC, was his decision making. He was somebody that, like, you would just say, fuck it, I'm just going to throw it deep.
Right.
Or fuck it, I'm going to, like, utilize my arm talent, or I'm going to extend the play. Like, obviously it's good to extend the play, but sometimes he extends the play too much, and it's like, you got to make a decision at some point. And so I think, though, with a guy like Ben Johnson, I think there was a lot of hype in the Bears last season, and so people are kind of hesitant to go in with hype this season because, you know, the Bears, they had all this talent that they signed. Obviously, Caleb Williams was going in. They had a solid running back, and then they had the receivers as well that they brought in. And, you know, it was funny, like, at the time, it's like, oh my gosh, Keenan Allen is just like the third best wide receiver. And look at this wide receiver core. And now it's like Keenan Allen just signed with the Chargers on a nice team-friendly deal because they're not seeing him as high as he used to be. So I look at this Bears squad. I think the big thing with them now is that their coaching wasn't up to snuff to really help bring them over the hump. And so now that you have Ben Johnson in there, and Ben Johnson's a confident guy that's willing to, you know, take risks, and I think that's going to absolutely, you know, do really well with Caleb Williams, who's also a guy that likes to take risks. And so I think they could take the next steps. I think they will be a better football team this year. I don't think they're going to win the division. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I think if you're a Bears fan, I think what you're just hoping for is you just want to see elements of, okay, we've got a good football team here that if we continue to put these building blocks down and continue to make the team better around Caleb Williams, that we could be a team that could be competitive in our division. But I really do think it's the Green Bay Packers division to take right now, especially now with the acquisition of Micah Parsons. I mean, like, I look at the defensive side of the ball. They bring in Matthew Golden, and they got some good young receivers. Jordan Love, I think, is a really good quarterback, a top 10 quarterback in this league. And I really like their head coach too, Matt LaFleur, and they've shown that they can win key games when needed to. I think the sky's kind of the limit for the Packers, to the point where I could totally see them making the Super Bowl as well this year. I think they're just that talented of a group, and they're young too. So it's like they could grow even more. Like, damn it, I hate how the Packers are looking this season. But that's how it goes.
Before we get to some baseball news, talk about what we saw this summer, I want to ask you one last question about football. A team we didn't speak of when we spoke about our favorites is the Cincinnati Bengals. Do you see the Bengals making it to the playoffs? And if so, how deep do you think they can make it?
It's so tough to say because I wanted to come on here and say I could see Joe Burrow being an MVP candidate this year.
Absolutely.
Because like the season he had last year, because it went under the radar and like the team didn't make the playoffs, but oh my God, like if you put that on other teams, like he had a historically great season last year. It's just that they could score 35 points, but the Bengals let in 40 points each game, right? Like it's tough to win when the defense isn't good. Like it's just Trey Hendrickson, and obviously they had that sort of situation there. Like they had their own edge rusher situation. Now they've only signed him to a year deal. It wouldn't shock me if they decided during like the trade deadline or something if they wanted to trade him away and try and get some assets back. Right. But I want to say that, but I really didn't think the Bengals did a lot during the offseason to really give me confidence, especially on the defensive side of the ball, to make me think this is a team that could go in the playoffs. Like I think that team that went to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, like that defense was all right comparatively speaking to this one. And even then, that defense on other teams would probably not suffice. It was that offense that really helped carry the Bengals. And I think that's what they're kind of banking on, is that this offense to continue to carry them. I think Joe Burrow, like he has shown an ability that he could take the team on his back and carry them. And it's like, we're gonna be in some dog fights here, you know, and really fight to the bitter end. But I don't know if the team is talented enough for Burrow to really take the team all the way into the playoffs, certainly get them to a Super Bowl. That's for sure. I just think that they haven't done enough on in the offseason to make these additions that can really make me say, okay, this is a different team this year that can really be a contender. Because I want to go in and like if Joe Burrow was on other teams, like with a better defense and whatnot, and maybe like a slightly lesser offense, like maybe they don't have the loaded wide receivers that he would have with other teams, but I think he would still be able to ball out and still be a guy that would be like, yep, that's an MVP candidate. But I don't know about the Bengals. They're a weird case. Certainly in that division. I mean, that division it's the Ravens will win that division pretty handily.
Right.
the Browns are just like a rotating door of quarterbacks. Like soon you and I are going to be in the QB room, watching film and learning play calls.
We'll be like, what the hell?
How do we get here?
Yeah. We'll wake up one day, we'll be like, wait a minute. You, me, you? Yeah.
I could throw some nice 3-yard out routes. It's like, how do we end up in here?
Yeah.
I'm sitting right beside, I was going to say Kenny Pickett, but he got traded. But it's like,
Shador
imagine
Sanders.
like you and I. Yeah. Sit by side Shador. It's like, hey, how's it going, buddy?
I guess we're going to battle it out for QB1 this year. All right.
Yeah. How did I end up above you on the depth chart? I really don't understand. But yeah, that's such a weird situation in Cleveland too.
Yeah.
Because I think we got talented players. Like Myles Garrett, I think is one of, if not the best edge rusher in the league.
Yeah, he's
but
good.
Everywhere else, I mean, it's Cleveland, right? Like it's just such a cluster.
Shit show.
It's just
Holy
a shit show.
Yeah.
It's just wild to watch. So I wouldn't be shocked if they're a team that wins 3 games.
Yeah. I mean,
I know Flacco led them on that miracle run a couple of years ago where it's like, oh my gosh, he's 38 and he's leading this team and blah, blah, blah. But I don't see that with Flacco this year. And I certainly don't see that with Dylan Gabriel or Shador, taking over this teams. I mean, Cincinnati could be a team that could sneak into a wild card, maybe, but I'm not even confident saying that. I just don't see the overall team being talented enough, especially on defense. Offense, I think it would be, but defense, I don't see that team getting into the playoffs.
Agree. Moving on. Baseball. What captured your attention this summer when it came to baseball?
Well, I famously said on the show that I am concerned about the Toronto Blue Jays, and I don't know what they're going to bring to the season. Right. And lo and behold, they're looking pretty good this year.
They were the best team in the majors for a while there.
It was awesome, and I was kind of in a way dreading, not because I didn't want to do the show, but only because I had to have my tail between my legs and come back. It's like, the Blue Jays were better than I thought they would be this year.
Yeah.
I was going in with such low confidence, but the acquisition they made for Shane Bieber as well, like I loved that trade. I was like, I think Bieber could. Yeah. I thought that was a great trade, and I know the Jays in his home starts. You look at the runs like, oh, that wasn't great, but Bieber himself, the first 5 innings is like, oh yeah, this is a guy that can certainly fill out the rotation. I'm still concerned about that bullpen, and the bullpen has been really bad for the Jays. In fact, worse than the Rockies and worse than worse than the Rockies and worse than the White Sox when it comes to bullpen since the All-Star break. So not great company to be in this season when it comes to stats. They have like a 5.89 earned run average since the All-Star break, I believe. So yeah, it's not great there, but I've been happy with how the Jays have looked this season overall. Obviously, it's still going to be a bit of a fight. Boston's really kind of climbing in there, and New York is still kind of lingering around. Disappointed in Baltimore. Like, Baltimore just continues to be, they seem to be a team with so much promise, and
I really don't know what happened. I really thought they were going to be on top of the division this year. I just thought they were just going to keep climbing with their young roster. Yep. And when I saw them early in the season, I was like, oh, no. This is going to be really bad. Like I knew early on, I was like, no, this doesn't look like a baseball team right now that could compete with the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Blue Jays. I mean, this just completely, and even the Rays. I mean, they're at the bottom right now of the division, and they looked. I mean, like you, I'm really happy and surprised about the Blue Jays. I didn't think they were going to stink. I just didn't expect them to be on top of the division this late in the season. So I'm happy. All right, I mean, it's Toronto. It's great, great for baseball, great for Canada. I went to see a Yankees game this year, so.
Nice.
Yeah, I went to see when we were in Long Island against the Twins. It was real nice. Yankee Stadium is fun to be at. I forget. I believe I said that there was a chance last year during one of our last episodes of season 1. I think I said the Red Sox would finish on top of the division. It was between the Yankees and the Red Sox. I think they went through a part of the season where the Red Sox really struggled, and I think that kind of killed their chances. But they're still only 3.5 games behind the Blue Jays. They're in the wild card hunt with the Yankees, so they have a really good young team. Roman Anthony, ever since they called him up, he went through a small slump early on, but now he's firing on all cylinders. Yeah, I'm really excited about watching the Blue Jays end the season strong. I mean, they're right there with the Tigers. I think the Tigers are looking really, really strong. They're going to be really hard to beat come playoff time. It's gonna be one of that. The Astros made the trades that they needed. I think they're a really, really strong contender to make it to the World Series. And on the other side, in the National League, I mean, you got the Cubs, you got the Padres, you got the Mets. There's a lot of strong teams right now. Like the Dodgers obviously are right there. The Brewers are the best team in the league right now. So it's like there's a lot there to be said. I think I said the Phillies would finish on top of their division, and right now they're looking really strong. The Mets have kind of been so with the whole, with everything that's been going on there. So I'm excited to see the end of the season. I've seen a lot of things, but like I'm really happy that Max Scherzer wasn't a complete disaster when it came to the Blue Jays, that he kind of figured it out, his injuries, and he started having quality starts midway through the season. There's a few disappointments like you. I think the Baltimore Orioles were the biggest disappointment. I expected a lot more from them. If I look in the National League, I don't know what I expected from my Giants. I thought they were doing really well early on in the season. They were hanging in there with the Dodgers. They were playing really well, but I think as the season dragged along and everything came to, I think they're just not strong enough to compete in their division with the Padres, with the Dodgers. Just really, really strong. I love the Phillies. I like the Phillies, even with Zach Wheeler not being there for the rest of the season because of an injury. I think Kyle Schwarber is having a tremendous season. I think he hit 4 home runs yesterday in one game. Like, that's crazy, right? So before yesterday, I think if you look at the National League, I think Shohei Ohtani was running away with the MVP, and I think he still is the heavy favorite. But I could see Kyle Schwarber going on a tear to finish off the season and closing the gap. I don't think he'll win the MVP. I think in the National League, I think it's Ohtani's got that locked in unless unless of an injury or something catastrophic. But even at that, I think Ohtani with his pitching, he's looked really strong. I went 5 strong the other 5 innings, I believe, his last start, and he struck out like, I forget how many, but he's been playing extremely well. But I would love to see the Phillies in that World Series. So I don't know. I'd love to see like a Blue Jays Phillies World Series, just like in the 90s. That
I was going to say, throw it back to 92 or whatever.
That would be that. There's a storyline there, obviously. Can the Tigers, get through and really play well in the playoffs? Can Schoolball just keep being dominant? I mean, I watched him pitch the other day. I mean, I watched the game he played against the Jays. Him versus, oh my God, Gausman.
Oh yeah, Kevin Gausman.
Yeah, dude. And they pulled him. And the moment they pulled him, the Blue Jays scored like 6 runs after they pulled him in the 7th. But right before that, it was a 0-0 game. Like it was such a good game. And so I think if the starting rotation can hold up for the Blue Jays, it can carry them. If they can go 5 or 6 so that they can minimize their bullpen in each match, in each game, then they'll have a chance. But yeah, there's a lot of fun storylines towards the end of the season I'm looking forward to. How about the American League MVP? Right now, I believe Judge is leading with the big dumper.
Yes, that's right. That's how I will refer to him from here on out. Cal Raleigh, for those that are not aware of the catcher for the Mariners.
He's having a hell of a season. Out of the blue, expected this from this guy, and he is hitting tanks after tanks after tanks. Leading the league with 50 home runs. Then you got Schwarber with 49, Ohtani with 45, Judge with 41. I mean, I think he's the favorite. I think Cal Raleigh should win the MVP because I hate to say this because Judge has had a good season as well. Judge is leading the league, leading the majors with his average, with a 322 average. But I don't know. Every time I look, they're talking about the big dumper. The big dumper's been the storyline, and every time he hits another tank, every time he hits another home runs, just give it to him. You know what I mean? Like, again, I don't know. I think he might get away and win the MVP, but at the end of right now, Judge is the betting favorite. So, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I was interested to hear your thoughts because I could see it going both ways. You know, just based on how I've seen the voters go in the past, sometimes if it's like a guy that's just having the season, like, and I think it should be put into perspective. Cal Raleigh is hitting 50 home runs as a catcher.
I know
Like that's
that,
just
but that's the
unheard
thing,
of,
right?
you know?
It's like it's a big deal. It's a
Yeah.
big deal to be this productive and play a lot of baseball. I mean, he's played most of the games for the Mariners, right?
Yep.
He's their number one catcher, and he's a really good catcher, you know? And to be able to hit 50 home runs and to be that productive offensively as a catcher, it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
And I think just that you should get more points, quote unquote, voting points when it comes to the MVP, you know?
Yeah, I've heard the argument of like, you know, Aaron Judge has won the MVP before. What's it going to hurt Aaron Judge if he doesn't get the MVP this season and you give it to a guy in Cal Raleigh who's like, you know, how many more of these types of seasons does he have in him, you know,
Right.
to really kind of take off? Yeah, I look at that as like, I wouldn't be upset if Judge got it because in my mind, I have these two conflicting ideas because to me, I'm always like, give it to the best player. Sometimes not the fun choice, but like to me, in terms of, you know, if you want to properly analyze a season and how it went and who was the best player, who was the most valuable player, you give it to what you believe is the most valuable player. And if you believe that's Aaron Judge, that's Aaron Judge.
Right.
But there is also the element of you want to recognize a guy who is a catcher who's doing something that is unprecedented for his position to even be in the position to be like, just to kind of put it into football terms, you know, like usually the MVPs are quarterbacks that win it.
Right.
And every once in a while you might get a running back, you might get a wide receiver, but it's essentially, it's a quarterback dominated, you know, position. This is kind of like if a defensive back won the MVP, you know, because they're having this unbelievable, unreal season that you have to recognize. I throw it back to like Charles Woodson back in the day when he won the Heisman as, you know, for playing both wide receiver and defensive back, like something unheard of at the time. You know, now it's funny with Travis Hunter, like you're seeing that more and more. But so I could hear both arguments, you know. My heart wants it to be Cal Raleigh, the big dumper, because I also want to say the big dumper is the MVP of baseball. Like that, like there's just a joy in saying that.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be upset if they went to Judge either. Like I know it's like a little bit of a wishy-washy, like, oh, I hope everybody has fun take, but I truly do believe that either way, I wouldn't be upset. Now, if it was like some dark horse that came in from out of nowhere, then I'd probably be like, okay, what are we doing here? But
Right.
To me, it's going to be between Big Dumper and Aaron Judge for the MVP.
Yeah, I think there's two names on the National League mentioned and two names on the American League. I don't think we're going anywhere else than that. But yeah, I agree. I think I would be very happy to see the Big Dumper win, but I won't be upset when Aaron Judge wins because he's had a great season and he's been able to play 125 games so far. He hasn't been injured like he was last year. He's been extremely productive. His OPS is ridiculous. It's higher than Cal Raleigh, you know. His batting average, he's not just a home run hitter. That's what we can see. He puts the ball in play and he helps his team win. So that's what you need, you know, as a more complete player. But again, like you said, I don't think we're going to see this again from the big dumper, from Kyle Raleigh. And so why not just give him his flowers, win the MVP? It'll be a story that we can talk about for years on years in the future. And I think it's I don't know. I just think it's the right thing to do. But again, you got to give it to the best player. And if everybody thinks Aaron Judge is the best player, which all-around player he might be, defensively is very strong, and he's offense, like I said, he's not just hitting home runs. He's putting the ball in play, and he's hitting well and helping his team win, you know? So it'll be interesting to see. I'm excited to watch this is where it gets really interesting with baseball, you know? You're end of the season. There's a lot of storylines going on. There's a lot of tight races for the playoffs going on. So there's a lot of things in the coming weeks that's going to be very interesting as far as baseball. And then you got the football season starting. So we're going to have a lot to talk about, hopefully in the following weeks, and get this Blue Collar Sports back in gear and try to get as many episodes as possible. But Zach, thanks again for making time to join me on this beautiful rainy Saturday here in Montreal. I don't know if it's raining where you're at, but it's pretty.
It's definitely cloudy last I checked, but it's not the greatest day. I don't think it's rain, but I could be wrong. I've honestly just been sitting down watching college football all day. And, this is the kind of season we were saying off camera that this is the year I'm looking forward to, because you get all the sports are coming back, and then other than baseball, and if you're a CFL fan, there's a lot of sports happening, so it's good to be back in the swing of things, and I'm gonna get myself back in the swing of things too when it comes to hockey, and it's hard to believe already that puck drop for my season is gonna start only a week from now, only a few days.
Crazy.
Which is crazy. I know, like it starts well before like the NHL doesn't start till October, and the AHL as well. So the OHL starts a little bit later, the CHL hockey. So for me, getting to call Junior A hockey this early, it's quite crazy. I've already had to call a preseason game this so far. Here's a little anecdote there, just to kind of leave with the viewers. I didn't realize I was getting my notes prepared for the preseason game, and the goaltender that we had for the Trenton Golden Hawks, I think you might be familiar with Andrew Raycroft.
Yeah.
The goaltender for the Leafs. His son was trying out for the Trenton Golden Hawks as a goaltender. He saw some action and was like, Raycroft, is this the same Raycroft I'm thinking? It's like, yeah, it's the same Raycroft I'm thinking. So got a bit of a tryout for the Trenton Golden Hawks. I don't know how he will fare. I haven't seen the final cuts or final roster yet. So, but
that's awesome.
I figured it. Yeah, it was like, oh wow, there you go, Andrew Raycroft's kid. I'm calling his son. How about that?
That's awesome. Good for you, man. Well, we're gonna get into a lot of things to talk about. Again, thanks for making time to join me on Blue Collar Sport on this new episode, and looking forward to talking with you in the coming weeks about all sorts of different football, baseball, hockey, and maybe other sports as well. Whatever pops up. If you're still listening at this point, you could follow us on YouTube, SVGTV, Blue Collar Sports. I'm Savage Paulson on Instagram. He's Zach McGibbon Media on Instagram. Give us a follow, and thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you again shortly.